All right. Moving on to our next Patreon request, and this one comes from Hunter Johnson, who asked me to do a three-way crossover between Mortal Kombat, Sailor Moon, and Steven Universe. As always, if you guys would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link in the description box below. Head on over to my Patreon where you guys can hit the third tier, and that'll allow you access to do so. But other than that, let's get started with the video. So this story basically begins with the Sailor Guardians being brought together by Luna and Artemis, and they're immediately like, what's going on? Like, why'd you call us? Is there like is there some kind of evil afoot or something, or what's going on here? So Luna and Artemis are like, well, okay, there is evil, but it's not like you were expecting, and you're just gonna have to like listen to this guy. And they're like, this guy? And this guy turns out to be Raiden. So Raiden has arrived on their Earth, basically saying that they have, they've basically been called to fight in Mortal Kombat for the sake of their world. Basically, he gives them all the rundown of, like, Shao Kahn and, like, what's going on and everything else. And they're like, all right, we're in. Yeah, you didn't have to, you didn't have to ask twice. Let's just get it, let's get on it. But Raiden's like, well, hang on, there's still the matter of another group that we need to call, because you guys are great warriors, but there's another great set of warriors, not too far away, in another part of the world that we need to recruit for this cause. And they're like, okay, what do you mean? What do you mean here? So they basically say, Raiden basically tells them there's we need to find, we need to recruit these other group of warriors. You guys are powerful on your own, but like it wouldn't hurt to have some extra help in this regard. Like it wouldn't hurt to have some more people, fight alongside us. So Raiden teleports them to, himself and the Sailor Guardians away and brings them to Beach City, all the way in America. So Raiden basically, meets with the Crystal Gems, who are admittedly like, who the fuck are these guys? But they are aware of the Sailor Guardians. Like, they immediately see the Sailor Guardians and like, wow, I haven't seen you guys in a while. And they're like, excuse me? So it is revealed that ages ago, the Sailor Guardians actually did, the Kingdom of the Moon actually went to war with the Gem Empire, like basically Homeworld. And they actually fought alongside Rose's rebellion. But after which, after the whole thing ended, they just kind of lost track of each other. So they're like, well, if the Queen of the Moon is going, and her warriors are going to war, then we'll go to war with them. So, and Raiden again explains the whole situation, and everyone's like, all right, let's go. So from there, the Sailor Guardians, the Crystal Gems, are brought to Outworld, where they are, they basically encounter, like, get the rundown of, like, everything else going on. They also encounter the other warriors from Earthrealm, which is another Earth. So it's like, cool, multiverse stuff. That seems fair. But Raiden explains, yeah, these guys are also great warriors like you, but you may have to fight them in the tournament because they're fighting for their world too. And they're like, okay, so why did you want to help us if we can't, if we have to fight them as well? Because it clearly seems like you have a little favoritism going on. And Raiden's like, I didn't like the idea of you guys being attacked, without some kind of provocation, without a little help. So I thought it was best to come and warn you about it. I will do my best to keep both Earthrealm and your Earth safe and protected from whatever dangers you encounter. So I'm going to do my best to keep both your worlds safe and keep Shao Kahn from taking, control of both of them. So and the first step was bringing your two groups together in order to fight in this tournament. So from there, from that moment, they proceed to enter the tournament. So you got a lot of fun fights going on. You basically got a lot of cool fights in which we see throughout throughout this matchups. You got Steven, who is forced to go head to head with oh god, why did I blank on his name? Not Kano. Cabal, excuse me. And Cabal is just like, dude, when did they start letting kids into these into these fights? I'm not going to feel bad about it. I'm not going to feel bad about killing a kid. So Steven and Cabal fight, and Steven does beat him, but he doesn't finish him. So Cabal does leave, but he does like, all right, thanks for not killing me. I'll try to return the favor. Then we have like Pearl, who goes head to head with Reptile. We have Garnet, who battles Goro. We have Sailor Jupiter, who battles Tremor. You have like Sailor Mercury, who does battle with Sub-Zero. There is a lot of fighting. There are quite a lot of fights that occur in throughout this tournament. But what is noticeable is that Shao Kahn is quite curious about. It's very clear that Shao Kahn and Shang Tsung are less interested about the fights themselves and are more interested in Usagi's power. See, they are quite aware of the power of the Silver Millennium. They're very aware of it, and they desperately want it for themselves. But yeah, the big thing is that obviously they don't, Usagi ain't gonna give that up. So they're trying to figure out a way to get that power for themselves. And of course Shang Tsung wants it for himself, and Shao Kahn wants it for himself. And they're both kind of going about it as united as they can be. So they do send, like one night they do send demons and monsters after Usagi, who proceeds to do battle with them. And of course her incurring fight does wake up the gems and the other Sailor Guardians, who proceed to help in that fight. But they do drive them off, and it's in that moment that Raiden arrives with the other heroes of Earthrealm, and he's like, what the fuck's going on? And they're like, we got attacked. And Raiden's like, oh, did you? That's awesome. And they're like, what? How is that awesome? Because you guys, don't have to keep fighting in this, tournament. He broke the rules. So Raiden goes to Shao Kahn, who's like, I didn't do anything. And they're like, really? Because how would you like to take that up with the Elder God, Shao? And honestly, you didn't really care about their Earth. You just wanted, you wanted the power of the Silver Millennium. So if you're not going to be interested in conquering their world, then the world itself is null and void. So Shao Kahn just is like, he acquiesces and allows the other warriors to leave. But however, the Sailor Guardians and Crystal Gems want to like stay and help fight the good fight. But Raiden's like, I'm sorry, but your world is no longer in danger, therefore you can't participate in the tournament. And it was never your fight to begin with. Like this whole, and Raiden basically reveals like, yeah, I did all this to make sure you guys because I knew he was gonna try something for the Silver Millennium, and it exposed Shao Kahn. Your destiny isn't to fight. Usagi and Steven, your destiny isn't to fight Shao Kahn. That's Liu Kang's destiny. He's the one destined to defeat Shao Kahn and bring peace to Outworld. So yeah. You guys can leave, we'll handle it from here. So that's how the story ends. It was just one big thing, like an interlude to Mortal Kombat 1. Anyway, so you guys, so there you go, guys. That is the three-way crossover. I want to thank Hunter Johnson for the Patreon request, as well as continued patronage. And like I said, if you'd like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link in the description box below. Other than that, hit the third tier. Other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.